Hello people, I'm Jaby KOAY, joined by RINA, HOSHINO. We're going to look at SWATHANDRYAM Okay, this is a mouthful. Let me try this one more time. SWATHANDRYAM ARDHARATHRIYIL. You want to try it?
SWATHANDRYAM ARDHARATHRIYIL.
She speaks Japanese. Japanese has long words, like say McDonald's.
McDonald.
Yeah, exactly. See, it's
Or you can say
complicated.
Mac.
SWATHANDRYAM, you know what I'm trying to say. It stars Anthony Varghese and it's directed by Tinu Papachan.
സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യദിനാഘോഷത്തിന്റെ ഭാഗമായിട്ട് ജയിലിൽ ചില ആഘോഷങ്ങൾ പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്.
Wow.
എന്നെ പണിയാനുള്ള തീയതിയായിട്ട് തീരുമാനിച്ചു. ശരിക്കും നീ ആരാ? ഭക്ഷണം കഴിക്കാതെ ഇവിടെ കിടന്ന് രോഗം വന്നാലേ അയ്യോ മോനെ എന്നാ പറ്റി വയ്യായെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ അമ്മമാര് പുറത്തോട്ടൊന്നും വിടത്തില്ല. അവനെ ഞാൻ വെച്ച് കിട്ടുന്ന ആ നിമിഷം അടുപ്പിച്ചാണ്. ഞങ്ങൾ രണ്ടുപേരൊക്കെ ഒന്നില്ലേ? ജേക്കബേ, നിന്റെ അടുത്ത് ഞാൻ മുമ്പ് ചുമ്മാ പറഞ്ഞതല്ല. നിന്നെ ഞാൻ ഇട്ടിട്ട് നിൽക്കും. ഞങ്ങൾ അവതരിപ്പിക്കാൻ പോകുന്ന കഥയുടെ പേര് സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യം അർദ്ധരാത്രി.
What did you think of that? Coming from a Japanese film background.
I mean, this is certainly different.
Is it really? I would think that this would be something you like. You're like, oh yeah, that looks familiar.
Really?
This that kind of edginess and the fast editing and the cool angles and whatnot. Like I feel like that's so familiar. Stylistically, like that's so in anime or in Japanese films.
It has similar
Like
components, I think, but you know, this is much more grounded. I think. I thought it was beautiful, like the way it was shot. Its colorations, especially. I'm still trying to figure out though what
was
like,
going on?
Yeah, they're trying to.
Now you know how I feel. We've been watching Japanese trailers all morning. I could follow what was happening for the most part. They didn't really show you who was speaking at the beginning. I couldn't tell if guards were talking or if prisoners were talking. I think it was prisoners who were talking, but essentially they're trying to plan their escape is what it looked like, if I'm not mistaken. I was more kind of captivated like you by the visual presentation of it more than the actual minutia of the story. I wasn't quite clear what was happening. I saw there was a lot of fights happening in the prison, and I couldn't tell if that was just fights in terms of like a genuine celebration, like they weren't being hyperbolic at the beginning of the trailer when they said we're going to celebrate because it's Independence Day, or if that was just kind of being sarcastic and what they really meant was we're going to get the heck out of here and we're going to fight our way out. It's one of the two. Either way, it looks very, very fascinating the way it's shot. I don't know how that would feel over the course of 2 hours of watching it with like these crazy shots and whatnot. It feels like a Tony Scott film in some regards, but more grounded. That's a perfect word I would use. Tony Scott kind of went off the rails a lot with his directing style towards the end of his life, but I certainly like a lot of the shots in here that are very creative and interesting.
Look at this. I think this is beautiful.
There are certain moments where like it just slammed into slow motion, but in a way that I don't feel like I've seen a lot that felt more reminiscent of an anime as opposed to a live action film. That's why I was like, surely you've seen that, right? Like you've totally seen that shot before.
Now that you mention, I was like, okay.
Like that right there. That shot was so interesting. It felt like an anime to me. Like when they stop into the ground and it's like they're super slow-mo, but the water's still moving at the same pace.
Yeah.
That feels like an animation. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know shit about anime.
Well, no. I mean, you're right. It's almost like, some of the shots were like a painting.
The other thing that this reminded me of was a specific act of Raid 2. There's this whole chunk of the movie that takes place within a prison, and there's like a lot of fighting and whatnot. It's very gritty, it's in the mud, and there was a lot of that here. I feel like it was inspired by that style. Even the little explosion you see with the cops facing the motorcycle and it kind of blows up in their face, even though the explosion is probably CGI, more than likely, just for the safety of the actors, I don't feel like I've seen this exact kind of shot before, this composition where they're that close and the explosion goes off and it's basically in their face. I've seen variations of it. It feels different all around. This just feels like a very different kind of movie. And I am very intrigued by it.
I like that it has like a raw feel as well as like the stylistic feel, like a great combination of both. It's hard to do, you know, it becomes one thing or another, but then the fact that they, you know, kind of pull it off like this is very cool.
I just hope that, like I was mentioning Tony Scott earlier, for those of you who don't know, he directed films like Top Gun, Enemy of the State, Domino. His style started out like sensible and then it got more and more progressively super edgy. He did Man on Fire with Denzel Washington. For me, watching Man on Fire in the theater, it just like, it got to be too much. That's the one thing I'm apprehensive about here, is that over the course of 2 hours, it might feel like too much if it doesn't take a break from it being hyper stylized like that and just be normal for 5 seconds so you can ground yourself again. It might be one of those things where I have to watch it at home and can't watch in the theater because it's like in a dark room for 2 hours. That's a lot to deal with. I think it's very bold. It's a very bold choice and I think it's cool. As a director, it's certainly a lot of things to be inspired by and ideas to take from it. It's a lot of great composition within this extreme close-ups of the eyes and the mouth and, you know, the heavy rain, all that stuff. Even if you're not into the story, it feels like this would be a great visual experience. Anyways, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Please be sure to check out RINA on the social media. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out our other reactions, reviews, and short films. I'm Jaby KOAY. This is
RINA, HOSHINO.
Peace out.